The phrase anything can happen in football is as old as time, but knowing the impossible is possible and seeing it happen are entirely different. These are moments that no one could prepare us for, and some of these are too ridiculous to even believe. Say what you may, the best ridiculous moments always come from lower tier football leagues. We're used to seeing disastrous tackles and even worse refereeing, but this is taking ridiculous to the next level. We get it, emotions can run high sometimes, but this Italian striker took it to a whole new level of mind-blowing. Pun intended. After scoring a rather unimpressive goal, this player launched himself towards the sidelines not to celebrate with his teammates, but to deliver a full-on headbutt to the substitute bench. The glass window shattered, and ever-ambitious striker ended up with a red card faster than you can say, anger management issues. Don't you love lower-tier football? All sorts of lunatics show up. But that doesn't necessarily mean top-tier football is free of lunatics, because at the top of the Spanish national women's team sat this lunatic who didn't know how to keep his hands to himself. Luis Rubiales got a bit too carried away celebrating Spain's Women's World Cup glory and actually kissed one of the players. I mean, yeah, the entire country is celebrating, but jeez, man, keep it to yourself. Hermoso, the player he interacted with, later came out clarifying the kiss and everything, and the guy lost his job. This guy made the biggest night in Spanish football history into a nightmare. He obviously tried to play it off as an instinctive reaction to Spain's victory, but he should be happy it was just his job. He deserves to lose a lot more than just that if you ask me. I'll tell you who didn't deserve to lose though. After the first few match days, Liverpool and Tottenham were the two front-runners at the top of the league, and even though it was too early to tell, many thought it was a title decider when they met in September. It was an intense game as the top two met. Both teams brought their A game, but the referees didn't get the memo. We got to see some of the most ridiculous pieces of officiating in Premier League history. VAR was supposed to help the referees, but this time, even VAR disallowed a completely legal goal. Liverpool even got the audio of how the referees communicated while making the decision, and it was simply appalling. Hopefully, it won't end up being the game that decides the league. Liverpool are in the driver's seat, so it's their title to lose. At least, when the referee made this mistake, he had an excuse for not being able to see the replay. Back when games were officiated based on the decisions of just one guy in the middle of the pitch, there were all sorts of outrageous decisions. This one is because when Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain saved the goal with his hand, even he wouldn't have argued with being sent off. So, imagine how ridiculous the referee would have felt when he found out he sent the wrong guy off. Yeah, he actually sent Kyron Gibbs off for a foul Oxlade-Chamberlain committed. I mean, they may have the same haircut, but just look at the back of the shirt. Oh lord, that's almost as big of a mistake as not subscribing to this channel. Only a person as blind as this referee would not subscribe to this channel. It was horrible refereeing, but not as horrible as this when Manchester United were awarded a penalty against Brighton after the final whistle had gone. The score was 2-2, and as United pushed for a winner from a corner, they appealed for a penalty. But before VAR could intervene, the on-field referee blew it for full time. VAR wasn't done reviewing the incident though, and once the appeal had been reviewed, VAR decided to award the penalty. Bruno Fernandes scored a penalty after the game had finished to win the game 3-2 for Manchester United, and Brighton fans were appalled. They didn't really accept how the referee could award a penalty after the match was over, but if you think about it, the situation called for it. But hey, it wasn't as embarrassing as this next moment because Liverpool let the title slip right at the end in the most ridiculous way possible. Quite literally. Close your eyes, Liverpool fans, because this performance from Steven Gerrard was what ended up haunting the cup for years to come. In April of 2014, Liverpool was closing in on that long-awaited league title, and at the center of it all stood club legend Steven Gerrard chasing the first Premier League title ever for Liverpool. Liverpool played Chelsea and just needed a win to win the title, but out of nowhere, Gerrard did this. He slipped under zero pressure and Dembaba was in to score. Liverpool lost the game 2-0, but the most ridiculous part was that Gerrard actually said, "This does not slip now," only to slip and let Chelsea score. But if Anfield has seen horrifying days, it has also seen miracles. And this miracle was even more ridiculous than that loss to Chelsea because no one saw this coming. Liverpool were set to face Barcelona in the 2019 Champions League semi-final, and the first leg was going to be played at the Camp Nou. Barcelona won 3-0 at home, but according to Klopp, the tie was not over yet. He was probably the only person on earth who thought that overturning a 3-goal deficit without Mohamed Salah or Bobby Firmino was nothing short of a dream. But when Liverpool welcomed Barcelona to Anfield, they were up for it. They chased Barca around the field from start to finish and won the game 4-0 to go to the final. That UCL season was crazy. The final might have been one of the most boring finals in a while, but the run-off to the final in Madrid was one of the best ever. Liverpool pulled that classic comeback off, and on the other side of the bracket, Tottenham were doing the same. Ajax had already beaten Juventus and Real Madrid and were the favourites over Tottenham. And they would have made it to the final as well if it wasn't for the craziest second half in Tottenham Hotspur's history. That was a season to remember if only Liverpool had the same luck in the final against Real Madrid a season earlier. Or maybe if Sergio Ramos did this, the final would have been a bit less one-sided. Ramos might be one of the best defenders in the world, but when nature calls, even the mighty must answer. Real Madrid was playing against Eibar, and Sergio Ramos had a tiny word with the referee and ran down the tunnel. Now, we have seen Ramos go down the tunnel before the end of the game, but it's normally because he's been sent off. People thought he had refused to play or maybe he was injured, but Zidane later revealed that the guy just went to the toilet. Come to think of it, it shouldn't be such a big deal. It's legal to go relieve yourself whenever you want, right? But hey, at least what he did was legal because Toney did the unimaginable. Betting is a huge industry in the UK, and for obvious reasons, players aren't allowed to bet on any kind of sporting event related to their sport. This rule is in place to avoid any kind of deliberate manipulation of results. I guess someone didn't tell Toney because he even bet against his own team just to earn a few bucks. He wasn't playing in those games, so he didn't manipulate a result, but imagine betting against your own mates. He faced the consequences when he was found guilty and was banned from playing for 6 whole months. He's back now, and he is already back to his previous form. Looks like he used those 6 months to train and come back even stronger. But it was ridiculous to see a top-tier player with so much potential be tangled up in such a scandal like that. He couldn't speak freely at the start, but he eventually came out with the truth about his ban. Just goes to show how football never ceases to amaze, with every moment being more ridiculous than the last. But these moments were as crazy as the ones in this next video. Trust me, you do not want to miss out on it.